Immigrants will soon change the government, according to what Germany claims. Olaf Scholz talks about the peace with Russia. On Wednesday in Bundestag, Chancellor again said that now is the time we need a new peace conference with Russia, and it must be on the table of negotiations. Clearly, what is understood is a peace that respects Ukraine's sovereignty and integrity and must be fair and not imposed or achieved by capitulation. That is, the implicit is that Russia will retreat and give Ukraine to the West, so that European Union's German leadership can soon move its borders to the east, as one of the Chancellor's predecessors wanted. Scholz's concern about peace with both concepts of the word is understandable. Germany feels leader of the old world. The fact that Russia does not agree with European ideas on Europe's border, in which Kiev, Crimea, and Donetsk should not be bothering the Chancellor of Germany, well, what to get from these Russian imperialists? They always claim the property of other people and do not know the border. This is not the case with Europeans, who put the law above all. For them, the border is sacred. But Olaf Scholz, the Chancellor of Germany's statement at the Bundestag for the peace conference did not draw any attention to Germany, because the same day, in the same room, they were talking about completely different borders, the German border, and the debate about them was what caught the attention of the whole of Germany. The usually restrained Scholz lost his temper because the immigration policy was discussed. That is the most painful issue for the Germans. Why does Berlin suddenly think about immigrants? Because on Monday, the German government introduced passport checks on the border to eliminate illegal immigrants. And why is the Scholz government suddenly worried about border controls? Because 2 weeks ago, the anti-immigration alternative to Germany won in 2 eastern German states. Saxony is in the first place, and in Thuringia, 0.5% behind the CDU, and the Sarah Wagenknecht's Critical Alliance for Immigrants. And in a few days, there will be another elections to the east, and it's almost certain that we will have the same result again. Thus, German Chancellor Scholz's coalition decided to grab the initiative, that is, to extract the immigrant card from the hands of the non-systemic opposition. With 30% of the three, hence all three government parties, and with the Bundestag elections approaching in 1 year, this is a fairly predictable, understandable move. At least some Germans must be convinced that the government is thinking of their security, and it generally understands the importance of the migration issue. At the same time, it's also necessary to win the systemic opposition, that is, the CDU, with which the government should form in 1 year. If the ADG and the alliance of Sarah Wagenknecht succeeds, the old parties will have no other options. And that is why the Chancellor Scholz government, after importing passport controls, called on the CDU to negotiate a joint approach to immigration policy. Let's agree and put an end to the illegal migrants and populist extremists from the parties regain popularity. However, the CDU does not want to share responsibility with an unpopular chancellor and a doomed coalition. Why do concessions and softening criticism of the government if power is already in its hands? Well, yes, not all power, but certainly the chancellor and the leading role in the new coalition that will form in 1 year. After all, the measures proposed by the government are clearly cosmetic and are not capable of not only solving, but not even mitigating the problem with immigrants. So the CDU had no reason to meet the demands. As a result, the talks were interrupted and the debate was transferred to Bundestag room. Scholz was accused of capitulating the immigration issue, while accusing opposition leader Friedrich Merz of populism and nationalism and reluctance to deal with the problem. In addition, Scholz blamed the CDU of decades of inactivity in immigration policy. The implicit is clear. Chancellor Merkel has been in power for 16 years, and before that, the Christian Democrat Chancellor has been the head of the cabinet for another 16 years, at the end of the last century, so you caused the problems to escalate, he said. The accusation is not exactly correct, and not even because Merkel passed part of the reign of the leading coalition government, which included two of the three parties of today's coalition, the SPD and the FDP, but because Merz, the current CDU leader, were out of politics. Years ago, years of Angela's reign, Angela Merkel, after losing the battle for the party's power from it at the beginning of the century, she entered the business to return when she began to prepare to retire. And now Merz has remained on the other half of Merkel's heritage, that is, the Chancellor. At the moment, Scholz is temporarily occupied, but the CDU leader will acquire his own in a year. As a result, Merz will sink both the government coalition and the Chancellor in every way possible, gaining points fighting to limit immigration. The struggle is rather artificial to understand this, as long as it compares to the statements of Scholz and Merz. The Chancellor talked about the need for cosmopolitanism due to the shrinking of the workforce. But cosmopolitanism, that's globalism, does not mean that anyone can come. We have to be able to choose who comes to Germany. It sounds spectacular, of course. What about Merz? He said that Germany must remain an open, foreign-friendly country and that we may need more immigrants in the coming years, although it cannot be ignored that in recent years, the number of people who have reached Germany and they still have managed to integrate is very high. The main issue is that Merz wants to strictly limit illegal immigration, including by banning the acceptance of asylum applications at the border with EU countries, instead of reducing the enormous legalities which the Germans also disagree with. But even such a move is unacceptable to the ruling Social Democrats and the Greens, who want to be confined to formal but loud measures. The only thing that could reconcile the two wings of the German party system would be the fear of an impending storm, when they simply are seduced by the growing popularity of non-systemic parties. But for now, Chancellor Scholz's fear of ADG and Wagenknecht party is weaker than Merz's confidence that he will soon understand the Chancellor. In any case, the most important issue for Germany next year will be the borders, and not the Russian border, but its own borders. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.